Welcome back to Retro Bytes. I spent money. I did. It's just that the performance of the Goodwill gaming PC was so underwhelming that I couldn't not spend money. A few things arrived in the mail today. I'm not gonna lie, I have big ambitions for the Goodwill gaming PC, and today's a good day to install upgrades. Inside the box here we have a Cooler Master Master Liquid 240mm all-in-one radiator with RGB fans, delivered to my door for a cool $73. I know what you're thinking, RGB? Well, honestly, I didn't have a choice in the matter. The motherboard is already such a variety of colors that it'd be difficult for me to pick a single one. In addition to that, I picked up a super cheap SSD. This is the Inland Professional 120GB SATA 3 2.5-inch SSD. But really, it's the cheapest SSD I could find online, coming in at a solid $18.50 shipped. So these parts are destined for the Goodwill gaming PC from last week. If you haven't watched that video yet, go check it out now. I'll wait. The first step in today's adventure is to prep the new all-in-one cooler. Here is the bag of parts for Intel motherboards, RGB controller and cabling, power adapter, lots of hardware, ooh, and some thermal compound. I'll assemble the CPU backplate here real quick. I'll also quickly assemble the mounting hardware on the CPU block. Let's get this crappy stock cooler out of here. Fun story, in between episodes, I did successfully overclock the Core 2 up to 3.15 gigahertz with the stock cooler. I wonder how high I'll be able to push it now with liquid cooling. As I said, I have big ambitions for this PC. Modern cases usually have a slot cut out of the motherboard tray for easy access to the CPU backplate. This 10-year-old Cooler Master Legion case, however, does not. It does have an interesting slot here for an 80mm fan, though. The motherboard has to come out, so out it comes. With the motherboard liberated from the case, I can install the CPU backplate. For socket 775, I need only slip these studs through the motherboard and the motherboard can go back in. My original intention is to install a radiator such that it's pulling fresh air in from the top of the case. Since Cooler Master was so thoughtful enough as to give us an array of fan cutouts on the top. However, these are not the standard 240mm rad layout, so it wouldn't be a clean install. Furthermore, there's no chance of getting the radiator to clear the CPU power connector on the motherboard. I might be able to get away with having only one fan in a pull configuration, but that would really suck. Now I'm looking at the front of the case where there's a 120mm fan mounted to the hard drive cage. I could mount the radiator here. I'll do a test fit. Oh man, what a nightmare. You cannot run screws through a radiator for obvious reasons, so the only way to get the radiator mounted to the hard drive cage is to run the screws backwards from the cage into the radiator. And there is just enough room to get these screws threaded. Oh man, this is hacky. I'll do all four corners here. Okay, moment of truth. Is this going to work? Yes! Yes it will. Excellent. I did not waste $75. These fan screws provided by the Cooler Master have these big dumb thumb screw heads on top of them. Frankly, I need this to be as low profile as possible so that the front panel will go back on. So these are a no-go. Disaster. These are the only screws I have that are long enough to securely fasten the fans down. Any more turns of this screw and I'm going to pierce the radiator. Dumb thumb screws it is. Before we put this in, let's get the hard drives installed. I have the original hard drive and the new SSD I want to get into this caddy. The caddy doesn't appear to support 2.5-inch drives, so I pulled out this adapter I bought some number of years ago just so that I could put SSDs into old computers. I'll quickly get this assembled. Disaster has befallen my project once more. This hard drive cage has these shock mount grommets, so these puny fine thread screws provided by the vendor will not work. I went through my screw collection and I found these coarse thread screws that will work, but the steel chassis of the adapter refuses to yield to these. Also, this project has drawn first blood. I am now beholden to its wishes. Okay, here's what I came up with. I'm going to install these small screws and use them to pressure fit the adapter in place. Enough goofing around, let's get this done. Ah, fail. I'll have to move it up one. Arrgh, foiled again. I'll have to remove the CD-ROM for now. Okay, here's the problem, and I knew this was coming. The original case design had provisioned just enough room to fit a single 120mm fan here, not a radiator and a fan. I have no choice but to recess the hard drive caddy into the case to make more room. I'll try to find a position that will still allow me to get at least a couple of screws holding this caddy down. I found an acceptable position, but predictably, the stupid thumb screws stick out too far. I can still fit the bay covers in place, although they stick out a few millimeters. I can get the CD-ROM in now too. Man, I don't know. Does this look janky? If I push these in too far, they are definitely going to rub against the fan blades. What do you think? Should I just go without? Enough aesthetics, let's finish the job. Here goes. First test. I've got my hand on the power supply cutoff switch just in case the fans are revving. Yes, they are! That settles it. No bay covers. It's too bad too because these have integrated dust filters. Alright, that's it for today. The all-in-one radiator and SSD are installed. I made the mistake of running all of the fan cabling along the wrong side of the hard drive caddy. So I'll need to take this apart again to properly cable manage this rat's nest. Did you enjoy this video? If so, please consider subscribing to Retrobytes and I'll keep the great content heading your way. Thanks for watching Retrobytes. Take care.